Let me know when to start.
You let me
Okay.
know.
So, should we wait or should we start?
I guess we can start.
How many people are there?
Uh, just start.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I am Soumya Vats, and I take the pleasure to welcome you all for the launch of AWS Club of IGDTUW. I hope this event will be informative and helpful for you. So, let's get started.
Hey everyone, I'm Arushi Garg, a third year BTech student at IGDTUW and an upcoming product intern at Adobe. I'm the AWS Cloud Captain. Hope you all are doing great and you all are pretty excited to join this event and you have the zeal to learn. So, for our audience, I have a quick question. When you post a picture on Facebook or any other platform like Instagram, Twitter, etc., what do you think? Where are your photos or all the gallery stored or kept? Do comment in the do comment your answer in the chat box. So, audience, do tell us what do you think where all our photos, videos, etc. are stored when we upload it on various platforms? Any answers? Yeah, I can see a few people saying cloud. So yeah, as you were saying cloud, so that's right. So cloud computing, just as you can't see rain in the clouds, we can see the pictures, videos and messages that we upload live. Cloud is used to describe group of computers around the world that stores this content and securely connected to our own computers and mobile phones so that we can have access and we can, access them quickly and easily. Okay, so it's been 3 years since I have been in this college. We have various technical societies which focuses on web dev, DSA, and AIML nowadays. But what about this latest emerging technology used in various industries all over the globe? Next slide, please. So no worries, folks. We are here to rescue. AWS Cloud Clubs are launching. Finally, we have this cloud computing society which will take all your questions and will help you to innovate and explore this field. Here you will get answers to all your questions and a lot many surprises. So firstly, let us introduce the core team and the founding members of this club. Over to you, Soumya.
I would like to quickly introduce you all to the core team of AWS Club. Arushi Garg, as already she has spoken, she is the cloud captain, an upcoming intern at Adobe, and an AIML and cloud computing mentor. Myself, Soumya Vats, I am the management head, and I'm going to be a summer intern at Deutsche Bank. And I am also an AIML enthusiast. Sukriti, she's our technical head, and she's an upcoming intern at American Express, and she has won lots of hackathons, included being a finalist at Smart India Hackathon. Priyanka Mohanty, our content head, she has received LIFT scholarship and truly believes in collecting new experiences. Khushi Khokar, she is our media head and an upcoming intern at AWS, loves competitive programming and a four-star holder in CodeChef. Sakshi, the youngest member of our team and our PR head, she was the runner-up of Idea Storm and is always brimming up with new and exciting ideas. This is our core team, guys. Now I would like our cloud captain to tell us more about the club and how it is going to benefit everyone here.
AWS Cloud Clubs are a type of user groups by students and for the students. AWS Cloud Clubs are student focused, peer driven user groups for post secondary level students worldwide. AWS is not an unknown name in the world of technology and innovation. Amazon Web Services is the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud, offering over 200 fully featured services from data centers globally. Millions of customers, including the fastest growing startups, largest enterprises, and leading government agencies, are using AWS to lower cost, become more agile, and innovate faster. Customers across virtually every industry and of every size, including startups, enterprises, and public sector organizations, are running every imaginable use case on AWS. Coming to the next part, or I will say the most exciting part, when you join any club, society, or organization, you always look out for the benefits. So, here are all the benefits for the students. So, as I have said earlier, that cloud computing is a domain that has not yet been explored by major college societies. So, we'll be discussing all the aspects of AWS and cloud computing in this society, in this club. AWS Cloud Club offers a suite of benefits to the community, and these benefits majorly include AWS credits, certification vouchers, exclusive experience in partnership with AWS employees, and opportunities for speaking and career related workshops. And yeah, so since I'm in my sixth semester, so cloud computing is one of my subjects in the curriculum. So, as I have seen that it is majorly focused theoretically. Like what we have studied is more about theory. So with this club, you will have the experience to explore the applications and how we can innovate our projects using cloud computing. And students can integrate their projects using various AWS services and make resume worthy projects. We'll be getting direct support, resources, and funding from AWS, and it will be a new learning experience for everyone. Cloud is something that is an indispensable part of today's tech world, and as students must be aware of all the services cloud, especially AWS, could provide. And we'll be providing vouchers to the members, as I have said before, and we'll be having various sessions for the members and the community members. And certificates of appreciation will be given to the members for every session they'll attend, and the certification of membership will be given to those who at least attend 75% of the events along with various flags. Yeah, so that was all from my end. I'll invite Mustafa Saifi, the advisor or advocate developer at AWS. Thank you, Mustafa, for joining.
Hello, hi everyone. Thank you, Arushi, for inviting me over here. I work as an academic developer advocate. First, I'll talk about what I exactly do. It's the title itself says academic developer advocate. That means I focus on the academic students, that is you students, and what is your need, what is that you require. I mean, I understand that I am also a student, and the first thing I joined college and I wanted a job. That's why I joined college. Yes, job is the end goal, but how do I reach there? And there are certain paths. Some path says that you do a lot of dsl go and do a lot of coding and then crack a fang. I mean, you can take that path. You can always be a competitive coder and data structure expert and crack a coding interview. And me personally, I have never given any coding rounds, and I have never done any dsl go, to be honest. And I'm not saying, I'm not discouraging it, I'm just saying there are multiple paths. One of the path I personally feel and I'm successful in is cloud computing. I have been learning cloud computing from day one of my college, because honestly, I it's not that I was not good at DSL Go. I had very good marks in college in DSL Go, but it's was not that something that I really was passionate about. But I was really passionate about cloud, and I feel that once you find something that you can learn and you're passionate about, and something that and something that will earn you money in the future. I mean, when you draw a Venn diagram, and if all these three things collide, I think that would be a field that you should pursue. I think for me, all these three field collided: passion, and there's money, and then there's something that I can learn, my capability of learning. So that's why cloud computing. Now, as I told you, why cloud computing? Why did I choose cloud computing? And as an academic developer advocate, it's my job to, help students pursue a good career, have a good career. I don't want anyone to settle for less. So that's about cloud computing and why cloud clubs. So I will tell you something about my past. I was a GDSC lead. I was also selected for the GitHub train. What was the program before that? GitHub Campus Expert. Yes. So I was a trainee, but by the time the whole process completed, I was out. I was also an MLSA, a gold MLSA, and yeah. So I have tried all this ambassador program, and the end goal was always to get a job for me. And to get a job, it is very important that you upskill. Now, what I have seen is that everyone tries to, join programs, but they never focus on the upskilling part. That's the intention of the program, to upskill yourselves. So if you join AWS Cloud Club as a member or as a participant or as a core committee member or even apply to become a captain, your end goal should always be that I want to scale up to get a job, not for the sake of telling people that I am into XYZ club. So that's the end goal. Now, if you become part of cloud clubs, what is something that I envision that the students should look out for? If I am a student and I want to join AWS Cloud Club, what should be my core priorities? So I will list the core priorities. First thing is that I will be always updated with the on-demand skill, the in-demand skill. So if you see on this call right now, there are two people who are from the industry. There is me and then there's Gaurav. So anyone in the audience over here, they will know that if they join this call to get that exposure from the industry experts of what is something that is good, that holds good in the industry. I'll be giving you some advices, and Gaurav is like much experienced than me. I am into the industry for hardly 1.7 years, but I believe Gaurav has been in the industry for a very long time, and his position is very senior to me as well. So because of that, he might give you very awesome suggestions. Even I will be learning from him. So that is one of the biggest thing that you get by joining these clubs, is that people like Arushi, students like Arushi, can get individuals like me and Gaurav onto this call. And when they get us on this call, you get the knowledge and experience that we have learned. There are two ways of learning. I always believe that. One is from wisdom and one is from experience. Either you go through the same grueling and struggling process of the same cycle that I went through, or just take advice from the industry experienced people and then learn from it. So that's wisdom. So that's why I always approach the wisdom part. I don't want to go through the whole struggle cycle again. I just take the wisdom from experienced people and apply it in my life. So there's that. Another next benefit for joining a club. What I would think, if why would I join a club? And I'm just making this impromptu because I don't want it to be, very technical. So that's why I did not bring a PPT for this. One of the things that I always envisioned is networking opportunities, because whenever I joined a club or any college ambassador program or anything, I got an opportunity to talk with like-minded people. I met a very good friend who was my study partner for cloud computing. And that is what you get by joining these clubs. You get partners, you get peers, and you also get to talk with industrial people. So let's say if tomorrow, I think your college, I think, I mean, I know that your college is in Delhi. The college itself says. So yeah. So because so let's say tomorrow I'm in Delhi, I'm coming to Delhi, and I tell all the captains in Delhi that I'm coming. So they might arrange an event in college for me to come to college and then clear doubts of the students. That is something I have always wanted in my college. Some industry expert, भाई आ जाओ तुम कॉलेज के अंदर, हमें बताओ कि हम क्या कर रहे हैं. नहीं पता मुझे कि मैं मशीन लर्निंग पढ़ूँ या नहीं. So there's that. So I always wanted that. So whenever I go to cities, I always tell tech people in that city that I'm coming to your city. If you want me in your college, I will come. So that is one benefit you get by joining the club. You stay updated with all these events. That is networking opportunities. uh, one more thing that we have designed for the captains is to take hands-on practical labs in your college about AWS. Now you might think that there are millions and millions of resources available online. Why should I join a club rather than do it? Just go online and search for it and do the hands-on. There is a different masala, okay, a different taste when you learn with other people. You can do it online. I have like two laptops, three screens, and 1 Gbps internet. I will do it myself. You can do it yourself. But when you do it with others, you do all these workshops, hackathons, seminars with other people around you, you learn more. You also see the benchmarks, you see the milestones, you see, okay, this is something I never knew. And because I attended this workshop, now I know. And you just don't learn what the speaker is speaking, but you also learn from your peers. Maybe someone knows more AWS than you. They will be teaching you more than what the speaker is teaching. That also happens. It usually happens in hackathons, that you don't know anything, but your group knows a lot of things. And you sit in your group and you're like, मैं तो सिर्फ PPT बना रहा था. PPT तो बनाते बनाते मैंने machine learning का algorithm बना लिया. So there's that. That's what you get when you learn with peers. So that is hands-on experience opportunities and access to AWS resources. I believe that cloud computing is still a very expensive resource. So Once you join such clubs, you get access to these resources and you get the knowledge on how to access these resources. So there is that. If someone is taking notes, then these are good points. Then there's well, I did cover this part that you learn from your peers because there is this thing called we used to do it in college where two people code pairing or pair coding or pair programming I think. Yes, so we used to do pair programming where I used to find something very difficult to code, and then I used to find a friend who is interested in my technology was Python, so I used to find a friend who is good in Python, and I used to tell him that you study all of this part because I'm covering all of this part. But I never told him that I don't know how to learn that part, so that he will learn it and then explain me how that works. So it saves me time of me researching on Stack Overflow and YouTube on how that works. So that is one benefit you get. Collaborative learning. It's very important. You might think, अरे ये सब कौन करेगा? अरे ये सब करोगे तो ही अच्छा पैकेज मिलेगा. पैकेज ऐसे ही
Exactly.
मिलता है. So I know you might think Mustafa is very money minded, but यार कॉलेज की फीस बहुत हाई है. पैसा भी रिकवर करना है. So there is that. Okay. Next is what next? Why would I join a club? Hmm. Certifications. Yes, that's a very controversial question. Uh, people ask me on LinkedIn and Twitter. Uh, I am preparing for solution architect. Should I pursue it? Yesterday I did a live stream, and the question was, how do I decide which certification I should pursue? Certification is not about completing an exam, like the um, um, sorry, there was a question and I got distracted. I'll answer that question. Just one moment. Certification, yes. So I got a question that why would I do? How do I decide which certification to do? Do a certification only if you can prove that you have done hands-on labs and hands-on practical experience on that what is defined in the certificate. So I am a solution architect, and if I am a solution architect and I do a certification, then I have the validity to do that certification. But I should just don't. I should just go ahead and do all the certification of AWS and just have the book knowledge of it. I highly encourage you to do certifications. Okay, I used to work at Microsoft, so yes, I do have certification in Microsoft, and I do have certification in AWS as well. Now, I did not do certification because I want to. I just wanted to do it for the sake of it. I want to do certification because I want to prove that whatever I have learned in AWS or whatever certification you're doing is something that is validated. That's why I do certifications. And to do that, you need to join these clubs. Why? Because you get an opportunity. First of all, you might get a certification voucher. I think Arushi might get it. So you get that opportunity. And second is the core committee that Arushi is handling. These people will be the next captains after Arushi. So they might get a certification voucher. And if there is a drive about 50% off on certification or anything like that, now because it is Arushi's club and the club of Soumya and all of you guys, you can keep your club members updated about these things. So that's why you should join a club.
Right.
I think that's enough reasons to join a club, and that's also you should be very precious with your time. I would not make it mandatory. No, if you don't join the club, you won't get a job. I mean, Arushi got a PPO, Soumya has a PPO, everyone has a PPO right now. So it doesn't mean that you won't get a PPO. But I'll tell you something. When you sit for a placement, uh, it changes the way how you talk when you have a lot of experience with you. You join this club, you do so many things, and then with these things in mind and with these topics in your mind, you can sit with the interviewer, with your recruiter, and talk so many things. I had 7 to 8 rounds for AWS for this role, and I had to talk for different topics for each round because I cannot repeat any topic. I cannot talk at the same thing with each recruiter. You know why I cannot talk the same thing? Because every recruiter leaves notes of what did I talk with this guy in this interview, and the next round, the next recruiter refers those notes. And if you talk the same story, it's very boring actually. You don't want your recruiter to be bored by you. So just imagine, I had 7 recruiters from 7 different countries, and I had to go through interview with all of them. So I had to be innovative with my answers. And how do you get these answers? You get these answers with your experience. So that's why you should join a club. Wow, I should be a politician. So okay, now I think I'll stop here and I'll answer one question. What is
I
the
have a
scope of cloud
question.
computing
Yes.
job market, sir? Okay, that's a very good question. A lot of students. I'll tell you about my college. There's a guy in my college, or a girl, or or someone. So And that person used to always never attend any of the cloud computing workshops I used to do. Reason being that they said that I will never use cloud computing in my life. So why should I learn about cloud computing? Let me tell you something. Whenever you get an opportunity to learn, you never know when it will be useful. Okay. I had never learned about security protocols. Okay. I never found it useful because I never had the use of it. But in my final year project, I made an IoT project. And one of the major issues in IoT is the risk of security because it is
Hmm.
open.
Right.
Now I had to study about that because I was writing a research paper on that. So I had to research about security. Again, repeating, I never studied security. I don't know anything about security. But in one of my interviews, not AWS, some other company, in one of my interviews, they asked me about security and their protocols and how, give an example of how I implemented a security mechanism in one of my projects. Well, that was, if I had never done that project, which I did not like because college pressurized me to do that project. If I had never done that, I would have never known about security. So yes, how will be cloud computing helping me? I'll give another example. Before this, I was a diploma in mechanical engineering. So when I was a mechanical engineer, I did an analysis of a machine part. It took me like 12 to, not 12, but more than that, 18 to 20 hours to do the analysis on that part. And that's when I learned about cloud computing. So I took that machine part, I put it in a virtual machine, and I increased all the stats of the virtual machine, the RAM, the GPU, the processor. I increased everything, and I used all the latest SSDs on the virtual machine. And the same analysis took more like around 2 to 3 hours. That's it. 18 hours analysis on a machine part took only 2 to 3 hours. How did this happen? Because of cloud computing. So you see, mechanical engineering and cloud computing, there's exactly no relation. In fact, because of that project, I even got invited by Microsoft, a sponsored trip to Taiwan for machine learning. Now again, where is machine learning? Where is mechanical? Where is cloud computing? It doesn't relate. But no matter what field you belong to, cloud computing is gonna be there. Machine learning, you can't do every analysis on your PC. It has to be a virtual machine. The very, and in some companies they give you a very poor laptop, and you have to just connect with your desktop to the remote laptop that is connected somewhere else, or a remote machine. So cloud computing is everywhere. It's not about scope in specifically cloud computing, but cloud computing is the backbone of every technology. And that's why even the club is like cloud club, because we want everyone to learn everything, but keeping cloud in mind. You want to do DSL Go, do it, but with cloud computing in mind. How can you make your code more efficient? Can you use some extra processor? I don't know about DSL Go, please don't hold my word for it. Maybe you can use some extra processors to make your. I had an interview with Google, okay? It was very fun. They asked me a question about bubble sort, and they gave me the code for bubble sort. Okay, this is the code for bubble sort. Optimize bubble sort. I was like, what? In college, I learned that bubble sort is the optimized version of sorting things, and you want me to optimize the most optimized algorithm. That is good. So I mean, I don't know if cloud computing can optimize that, but I do not have an answer to that. So yeah, that's that. How do you use cloud computing? Cloud computing has a lot of scope in the job market. Give an interview about machine learning, but tell them that you deployed your machine learning algorithm on a serverless application. You know how cool that sounds, and try it actually. Deploy your machine learning algorithm on serverless. You will know how difficult it is, but once you complete it, how awesome it is, and write that in your resume. So adding cloud computing to everything, it's like this. You make food, okay? Don't make food, okay? You are hungry. It's lunchtime. Can you take one full tablespoon of salt and just eat it? And then, okay, I'm done. I'm stuffed. You can't do that. But without salt, you cannot make any food. You have to add salt in everything. So that's what cloud computing is. It doesn't directly have an impact on the job market, but that is what how you get every technology done. That's the salt in your food. So yeah, I'm sorry the question was like one line and I answered in an essay. So yeah, any other
No, but
questions?
that is great. That is great.
Yeah,
Very well said, Mustafa, about some cloud computing being salt of. That is a very great analogy we can use for our cloud computing club, right, Arushi?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect analogy. Thank you, Mustafa.
for sure.
So now Arushi will be briefing us a little about what cloud computing is and how a little about the introduction to cloud computing. So to make it easier and beginner friendly for everybody who has joined us. So Arushi can go next.
Thank you so much, Mustafa, for for telling us about your experiences and your insights. So yeah, we'll be moving towards our first technical session, Introduction to Cloud Computing. So let's start with an anecdote. So once upon a time, everyone's computer used to feed off a box in their office. But the more and more we used, the more boxes we needed until there was no room for people anymore. So now there is a man called Mr. Cloud who lives in the sky and looks after all the boxes for us. Mr. Cloud has magic powers, which means he can give people the exact amount of power they need, whenever they need it, and from wherever they need it. Cloud computing means miles and miles of information, like the biggest library in the world, all stored in space instead of your computer. And you can look at that information from a computer or phone wherever you are in the world. It's like using a library in the sky where you can pick from different types of games, films, or any other apps and pay for those you want to use. But like a library, you never own them. Cloud computing refers to the delivery of computing resources such as servers, storage, databases, software, and other services over the internet. Instead of owning and maintaining physical hardware and software, users can access these resources on demand and pay only for what they use. The cloud service provider is responsible for managing and maintaining the underlying infrastructure, security, and performance of the cloud services. This model allows organizations to scale their computing resource up or down as needed and enable them to focus on their core business rather than worrying about the IT infrastructure. Next slide, please. So moving to towards the benefits of cloud computing over traditional computing methods. First, scalability. So cloud computing allows for the easy and quick scaling of computing resources up or down based on demand without the need for physical hardware upgrades. Next, cost efficient. So we always search for solutions that are economical and cost efficient. So cloud computing eliminates the need for businesses to invest in expensive physical hardware and software and instead offers a pay-per-use model, reducing the upfront and ongoing cost. Next is accessibility. We always find the solutions to be accessible, like we always search for solutions that are accessible. So, cloud computing allows users to access data and applications from anywhere in the world with an internet connection, making it ideal for the remote work, collaboration, and mobility. Coming to next benefit is the flexibility. So cloud computing offers a range of services that can be tailored to meet the specific needs of different businesses, providing flexibility in terms of computing resources, storage, and services. Next could be the reliability benefit. So, cloud computing services often offer high levels of uptime and availability with built in redundancy and failover capabilities, ensuring data and applications are always accessible. Then, the most important benefit of cloud computing, we can say, is security. So, cloud computing providers often have better security measures and protocols in place than most businesses can afford to implement themselves, ensuring that data and applications are secured and protected from cyber threats. And finally, ease of management. So, cloud computing eliminates the need for businesses to manage and maintain their own IT infrastructure, allowing them to focus on their core businesses instead. Overall, we can say cloud computing offers numerous benefits for businesses and students over traditional computing methods, making it a popular choice for many organizations today. So there are several cloud service providers in the market today. As you can see, first is Amazon Web Services, AWS. It is Amazon's cloud computing service, which provides a wide range of infrastructure and platform services for businesses of all the sizes. Next comes the Microsoft Azure. Microsoft's cloud computing platform offers a range of services, including computing, analytics, storage, and networking. Next is Google Cloud Platform, which again provides infrastructural and platform services. Another is IBM Cloud. So IBM Cloud Computing Platform offers a range of infrastructure and platform services, including analytics, blockchain, and Watson AI services. Coming the list, next is Oracle Cloud, which offers a range of services including computing, storage, and networking, as well as a suite of enterprise applications. Then second last, Salesforce Cloud, offering a range of services including customer relationship management, CRM, marketing automation, and analytics. And finally, Alibaba Cloud, which offers a range of infrastructure and platform services including analytics, storage, and computing. So write in the chat box which all platforms you have used and you have integrated your projects with. Mm. Okay, so there are not many viewers who have already used various platforms. So moving towards the most dominating platform in the market, we could say that AWS is the most dominating platform in the market because of various reasons. Next slide, please. So it has got the first mover advantage. AWS was one of the first cloud computing platform to launch in 2006, giving it a significant head start over its competitors. Next, it provides a range of services. AWS offers a wide range of services, including computing, storage, networking, database, analytics, and machine learning, among others, making it a one stop shop for many businesses. Next, the advantages, the benefits are scalability, flexibility, reliability, security, and most importantly, innovation. AWS invests heavily in research and development, regularly releasing new services and features to stay ahead of the competition and meet the evolving needs of businesses. So yeah, that was all from my end. As I can see, there's a question. Can you tell us about the different projects that can be made using AWS? Yeah, exactly, Rupal. We can integrate our projects, our IoT projects, machine learning projects, and web development projects, and all the projects with AWS, so that we can use their APIs and we can use their resources to make our projects even better, and we can also use their innovation to bring more innovation to our projects. So I hope that helps. So that
Thank you,
was,
Arushi. Thank
yeah.
you for the wonderful session. I hope it helped people with understanding what Cloud Ready is. Now, I would like to welcome our guest speaker for today, Mr. Gaurav Garg, who's currently working as a technical account manager at Amazon Web Services. He has also served as senior cloud architect, director cloud and IT, cloud services solution manager, global consultant, as well as system architect at some renowned firms like Servigistics, PTC, Aerocore, and Powerplan. We welcome you, sir.
Hey, thank you for having me here. Happy to be here. It was so good listening to you all talk about cloud and the power of cloud. Um, if I were to just answer the question that was asked in the chat by Rupal, right? What can you do with the power of cloud? So think of cloud computing as an analogy or as the same as electricity. Once you get electricity in your house, you can plug and play and power so many different tools using that one common utility, right? In today's world, cloud computing has become that utility. So you can pretty much take any idea, thought, and immediately take it in front of the world to the masses, expand it globally. Think of the food aggregators around you. Think of the rideshare apps that you're using. Think of even ordering pharmaceuticals, right? All of it you can easily do using just the internet and your mobile phones, right? So the ability for you to do that is provided by the ease by which the applications are made available, irrespective of whether you are using a 5G held handset, or you're using a handset that is 3G, or you're using your desktop. I mean, everything is supported. So this is how ubiquitous cloud computing has become. So hey, I'm Gaurav. I am currently a technical account manager based out of Delhi with Amazon Web Services. Thank you for having me here, our cloud champion Arushi, the cloud captain, and Soumya. I am here to talk you through few slides. I promise to not make it too boring. Please have the questions coming. Let's keep it interactive. The idea is for me to come here and talk to you and just give you some insights and view into how the cloud world is. What is cloud computing, and then we'll just go through that in the next few minutes, right? So having said that, I don't have a set agenda, but the current agenda that I have is displayed on the screen. We'll just look at the importance of cloud computing, especially using AWS. I'll give a quick introduction to AWS, the overview of services, security, as Mustafa mentioned, as we all know, in everything that we do, especially with industry scale applications, security is paramount. When our users, who are our customers, are trusting us with their data in giving us their phone number, or just electing to use our service to get what they need, they are trusting us with the data, which is very, very important and personal to them. So it's our responsibility to secure it. There's a shared responsibility model on the security side in AWS. So we'll talk about that, and finally I'll close it off with some summary references. But like I said, this is just a placeholder, so please have your questions, thoughts coming. If I were to start with the importance of cloud computing, and it's displayed here in so many words, um, but to say it simply, right? Think of it as a utility that you can use. You can use it on demand. You can use it without making any commitments. You can use it without making the upfront investment of buying, owning, and maintaining that equipment. And you can use it on as needed basis, which means that today you are ready to start a project, and this project is going really well. You're going to use the resources for next few days. Suddenly something changes, and now you want to go to some other project and you don't want to continue using them. You can stop using them, and you don't have to pay for the duration that you're not using these resources. Now, this is a very simple statement, right? But it's a game changer when you really think of it. Think of a data center. Data center are the size of, I would say, multiple cricket stadiums. So if I were to take our Firozshah Kotla Stadium in Delhi and multiply it by 10, that is the size of a typical data center. So that is the kind of investment that companies used to do to set up their own data centers, in which all the hardware was procured and set up in a secure fashion, in a redundant fashion, before it could be used for cloud computing. So any websites that they made available to you, they had to use space in that data center. Either they owned it outright or it was a co-location. Now the game has changed. Using the power of public cloud vendors, you can simply go to a website, make an account, give your payment information. It could be credit card, it could be your UPI information, and you can get started. So if you have that next idea to launch that product, nothing stops you. You can immediately go ahead and get started and get coding. And I already heard that you guys are already good at coding, so kudos to that. I wish I was good at coding when I was in school, but hey, bygones are bygones. Okay, so let's look a little bit further on what is the cloud, right? How is it different from the on-premise IT setup? So, like I said, the analogy, as the need grow, there were a lot of servers that were needed in a space. I think Arushi also mentioned it. It as the space crunch was real. The servers could not be hosted in the same location where folks were sitting. So they moved these servers to their own specific location, and we started calling them data centers. And the size of data centers, like I just said, right, it's huge, it's humongous. So think of the servers, the storage, and the databases on those servers in that scale. Now, all those were accessible through corporate networks by the end users who are working in the organization, right? But with the advent of internet, people wanted to do things easily, faster, still in a secure fashion, maybe through their own devices or their handheld devices as well. So that's when the cloud really came into the equation, right? So how does it work? So ideally speaking, end of the day, you still need that much computing power sitting somewhere, right? It's the way you are accessing that computing power, it's the way you are paying for that computing power, it's the way you are able to scale up and down using that computing power that's changing. And that's where AWS has come up with its console, where you can, like I said, sign up and log in and start using these services. So these services are based on the same basic infrastructure as any traditional data center would have been. We have services differentiated by compute, by uh, by storage, by networking, by security, and then by other things like databases, and then on top of them you can create your own application. So that all remains the same, right? Um, Having said that, movement to cloud for some organizations, and I know I'm talking about big corporations here, it has not always been immediate. It's not one versus the other. So there is this hybrid approach as well that organizations choose to take. So we'll talk about it in the coming slides, right? But this is where cloud can come in and help you get going. So your agility is right there. You can save costs. So how can you save costs? The question might come, hey, you're asking me to spend on my card, and you're saying pay me these many dollars or rupees. This is still costly to me. I cannot pay like 1,000 rupees just to run a server. That's a fair enough statement coming from a student, right? But think of it from a scenario of had you had to do it in your organization's lab. So let's say your college had to procure that equipment for you, and you had to run it and then use it. That one-time investment cost would be maybe in lakhs, right? So that versus the investment that's being made in thousands, that's where the uh, cost benefit, the pricing benefit comes in. So and finally, I said, it really increases your time to innovate. So when an idea comes to you, and then Soumya and Arushi are talking about that idea, they don't have to really wait and then go get approvals from the team to provision that hardware, right? You guys talked about AI ML models require a lot of compute for you to actually get good analysis done, and that compute can get costly. So getting that compute, especially using the on demand or spot options, is something that a lot of organizations are also doing. So um, that's what I would say is the real cost benefit. And end of the day, it's fully managed for you. So it's made it we have made it very easy for folks to get started. So I know when I first got started with AWS, I was coming from on-prem world, is how we call it. On-prem world, what I mean by that is a data center world where we were using virtual machines rather than using a private public cloud. So for me to get started on AWS was easy, even without a certification. And certifications really do help. I think there was a comment there by someone whether we should go about doing certifications or not. Yes, you should definitely try and look for those. They help you get your knowledge validated and make get you ready for the real world out there. All right. So I'll move on. I'll just give you a real quick introduction on things in AWS. And please feel free to stop me, ask questions. I know I'm going in a flow. Arushi or Soumya, if you have anything as well, please don't hesitate. Let me know, right? Um, right. Okay. So cost savings. I think I talked about cost savings, but this is where there is a concept of TCO, or total cost of ownership, that comes into the picture, right? Because you're not owning the hardware, you're just using it. You are easily able to migrate to the newer versions. And then overall, if you look at it, there is at least 20% reduction in your IT infrastructure cost. Now, this is especially true for an organization, but even for students who want to get started, AWS provides free tier. What I mean by free tier is there are certain services, if used with the proper guideline that's mentioned, you are not charged. And I emphasize on the fact that they have to be used properly with the appropriate guidelines, because um, you have to launch that specific server size, otherwise you might get charged. And then we do require a payment method on record, even before you can access. So please be careful. But yeah, don't let it stop you from exploring AWS console. I would highly recommend it. It helps in the overall productivity, because the overhead is not there. You are not waiting on someone in a different department to give you that server. If you are ready with the idea today, you can get started right away, right? The next few points also make sense for our organizations, because it gives them better operational resilience. Resilience means being resilient to failures. So think of it as a situation where a hardware failure happens or something else occurs, which is outside of the application. It can still impact the overall business. So working in cloud and architecting for high availability saves you from that. Um, and finally, it is also sustainable. So at AWS, we are committed to reducing the carbon footprint. We are part of the carbon pledge, and we are going to keep working towards it. And we have already reduced 88% carbon footprint that we generate in our data centers. All right. So I'll brush past this. So I don't think we need to touch base on this, especially looking at the current setup. So yeah, this we already talked about. So when you're innovating, when you're working with AWS, right, you can immediately move on to the next shiny technology that's out there, because this world of computing is ever so agile. There are new servers that are out that are coming, which are giving better performance. So for production workloads, those benefits matter a lot. So for any organization to move quickly to those newer generation servers or technologies is very, very useful. So you can use that and innovate with AWS. Like I promised, in the next few minutes, I'll quickly go over a few slides. So when we talk about compute, right, we have a breadth of services that can be used. If you want to look at a traditional, I would say, virtual machine, you can go for Amazon EC2. If you are just trying to run your application, it can be run using EKS or ECS. We also have the option to run code directly using Lambda, which is a serverless technology. So all those options are there, and the benefit that remains with AWS is it's pay-as-you-go model. It's per hour billing. It is per second billing in certain scenarios, depending on the operating system and the compute that you choose, and there are no commitments that you are tied to, right? So that's one benefit that you get. So moving from compute to storage, we were the first to come up with object storage, which is simple storage service S3. I'm sure a lot of web developer enthusiasts in you would have already heard of S3 and the power that it brings and the agility that it provides to the teams who want to launch a quick website. So S3 is definitely there, but that's just one side of the world. We have Elastic Block Storage, which works with all the compute that we have. We have Elastic File Server (EFS), and then there are certain more involved options that make sense for very specific workloads and use cases, I would say. So I'm not going to go into the detail, but this information is here for you to look at, and if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to take them. And then, of course, when you talk about the web, the application world, databases are very, very important. So we have the most broadest selection of purpose-built databases for your application needs, starting with Amazon Aurora, which is a purpose-built database which supports both MySQL as well as Postgre. We also have Amazon DynamoDB, which is another great database that our customers have started to use and love, and it's heavily used in production workloads. We have Amazon Document DB, which is MongoDB compatible. So depending on the specific use case, you can pick and choose from any of these purpose-built databases, or even choose from the existing commercial databases like Microsoft SQL Server, or if you so choose, you can also go for Oracle. All right. So looking at the comments, yeah, there are no questions. So then coming to analytics, right? When you have this much data, when our organizations, I talked about a few food aggregators, right? I think this morning I was reading an article because of the current festival of Eid. In one of the cities, Hyderabad, the number of biryani orders that came in overnight were more than I think 10 lakh or even more, if I'm getting it right. So those kind of analytics, when you have to get to that level of information, right, you need to do some number crunching. So to be able to do that, we provide you Athena, which is directly able to work with Amazon S3, or you can put your data in Redshift, which can handle terabytes and terabytes of data, and then give you those information really quickly and easily. Okay, so when you are talking about all these building blocks, right, you cannot do things just by having a VM or having a storage or having databases. Somehow you have to still connect all of these pieces together. So that's where networking comes in. So networking is again something that's integral to everything in AWS. We have the concept of virtual private VPCs. And then API gateways and other technologies that I mentioned here, like Route 53, help you get that missing pieces together to launch your own solution or a website that you want to work on. So all these are available to you through the console. All you have to do is just go and explore and reach out to your cloud captain, and I'm sure they'll be able to assist you with it. Okay. Finally, and most importantly, security is very, very important. So irrespective of how involved or complicated your application or code is, users have come to expect a certain level of security in everything that is shared with you. Um, all right. So sorry, I just saw a question coming in from World of Preeti. The question says, so basically AWS helps in data management. Thanks for asking that question. I would say it's not that we help you in managing your data. We have all the levers available at your disposal where you can bring in your data as you so choose, and then utilize it to perform any logical function. That could be, like I said, hosting your own website solution, or it could be reaching out to your customers and just running a blogging service, or it could be a OTT platform for that matter, right? So right, it's not just data management. If to answer your question specifically, I hope that helps. And there's a follow-up. Is it an app which everyone can use? So when we talk about specifically AWS Web Services, it is more than an app. It's a console of all these different services that I'm talking about. Um, an app typically has APIs. So yes, our console also has API access. So if you want to do things programmatically in the cloud, that is possible. But it is more than just an app. It's a whole world of cloud computing, right, where you come and do all these things. All right. No, that's okay. Your questions are valid. Please don't be apologetic for asking them. I actually am trying to find ways to make it simple and answer them. I hope I am able to. And please do keep those questions coming. All right. So yeah, coming back to the topic, right? So I was talking about security, right? So security is important. So you can secure your workloads in the cloud using the inbuilt IAM features and other features that I'm displaying here. But remember, security is always going to be a shared responsibility. End of the day, whatever you are doing using AWS is in the cloud and is through your application. So you are the owner of your application. So we provide you security in the cloud, and then you are responsible of making sure that the application that you deploy on top of that is also secure. Um, All right, and then as you grow, right? Because once you start doing things at production scale, once you're doing it at the corporate level, these things are not sufficient enough. Meaning, okay, you have all these servers now. What about who owns it, who manages it, how is the cost defined, how's the what is the governance model? So we provide you additional levers so that organizations can come in and then decide on various things, like what is my budget looking like, on what is my compliance need going to be. So if you are aware of recent privacy laws, things like public facing applications should not expose end user information, right? So I can state the GDPR, which is especially applicable in Europe, and then India is also coming up with its own on laws, with RBI coming out with notifications as well. So the financial applications, the applications that handles personal information, PII, they all have to look for those and then be careful of those. Yeah. So I think there was another question from the world of Preeti. What is cloud computing? And Shiva, yeah, you are kind of right. So if I were to just take the term cloud computing, right? Um, Cloud computing refers to an on-demand delivery of IT resources via the internet on pay-as-you-go pricing. So I hope this makes sense. So this is on-demand. It's via the internet, pay-as-you-go pricing, and it's elastic. What do I mean by the last word, elastic? Elastic means that you don't have to tell me today how many of these resources that you're asking for you would need tomorrow, right? So I will have enough capacity built in. Cloud is meant to solve those challenges for you and our other customers, right? Okay. I have one more question come in. Let me take that. Akriti Sharma, what are some best practices for ensuring the security of sensitive data in the cloud? And how can organizations protect against threats such as unauthorized access, data breaches, and data loss? Thanks for asking that question. I would say it's a multi-part question, so I'll try to answer all the parts. Um, Best practices to ensure security of sensitive data is principle of least privilege should be followed. So when I talk about the module of IAM, or identity access management, this is where you define on who can come into your account and access the resources that are running into that account, right? I just talked about IT resources. So I hope we are good on time, right? Okay. Yeah. So this is how you come in and opt in all those resources. So first and foremost is your security of setting that up, and then comes the it's also called the perimeter security. So what do I mean by perimeter security? So think of security as concentric circles, right? And the outermost circle is where your user traffic is coming in to your application. Because you have built an application, you want people to utilize that application. Now, first and foremost, you have to make sure that you are able to identify whether the entity trying to hit my application is a good entity or a bad entity. So good actor or a bad actor. So that's where at the perimeter you will decide, and you'll try to stop all the bad actors from even coming into your application any further, right? So there are coming back to the concentric circles. That is your first circle. Then your inner circles will define how your different components of your application. Let's say your application has an API layer. It has it has a load balancer. It has some compute behind that load balancer, and then maybe it has a database, because you have to also store some data. So at every layer, then you decide how these layers interact between themselves. Okay, so that's how you would start by a mental model of securing things, and how we'll go about securing the data. Now, how can organizations protect against such unauthorized access? So this is what the organizations are also doing. They're investing in all different layers. So going back to the to the operating system class, I'm sure you must have read about the OSI model: layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, 5, 6, 7. So layer 7 is the application layer, right? So at every layer, and you start by securing your data and making sure that data is only available to you when you need it. Otherwise, it's encrypted at rest, right? So things like those are how you will build a mental model. And when you go into the application development, there are tools that are available at each and every place that can help you achieve that. For example, if I were to just take an example of an antivirus software, right, that runs on your underlying virtual machine or your container, it can help you find any malware or any unwanted program that's running, which may harm your application and its security. So that's one example that I can give. Okay, so I see now there are quite a few other questions. So I'll move on to the next one, Akriti. I hope I answered yours. Um, Shruti Kumari, cloud computing is another thing like an app or a website. I think I answered this question, but if it's not clear, please add your comment and I'll try to answer it again. Is there any difference between cloud computing and mobile computing? Now that's a very good question. I don't think I'm qualified to answer it, but I'll try to answer it. I think end of the day, things are still happening in the cloud. Mobile computing is more focused on the handheld devices than for the browser-based traffic, which could come from all other different types of devices, is how I would put it. Sakshi. The next question is from Astha. What is the future of cloud computing and how will it evolve over the next decade? Okay, that's a very good question. I don't think I am the right person to answer it. I can probably take a guess. Looking at the world around us, of course, you must have heard about ChatGPT. You must have heard about other such AI programs that are coming up, right? So the world of computing is actually going towards making things simpler, which has always been the goal, using this utility that's available to us. Now, how it will evolve in the next 10 years, it's to be seen. I don't know if I can answer that very well. So I'll probably get back to you in 5 years. Maybe that's when I know a little bit more. Uh, okay, and okay, there were some answers from the cloud club as well. So thanks for helping me answer those questions. In terms of the slides, I think I'm almost done. Just one quick thing. Someone mentioned Internet of Things, so I added it here as well. Internet of Things, especially think of when you're on a plane, the landing gear. It has a wheel attached to it. So teams had to, and they still do, had to check it manually if it's in need of a repair after every takeoff and landing. Now the organizations are able to add sensors to that equipment to make it even easier for them to just find out whether a particular equipment is in need of a repair. And because this is so well tested, it's a mechanical part, they know that okay, after 4,000 landings we would probably need to repair it. So that's where they'll they'll keep a track of it. Yeah, 5 years is not too long, it'll pass by. Okay, so that's everything I had. Security is one topic that I said I'll give a little bit more detail on. So we help you in the cloud to meet your data residency requirements. Let's say you don't want your data to leave the physical geographical boundaries of India. So you have two data centers, two regions to choose from. And then we provide encryption at scale to various services using the AWS key management service. And then we comply with local law and data privacy laws, which I think I mentioned GDPR and California privacy law as well. So wherever the organizations are coming up with different laws, we try and answer those. Okay, I think that's the all time I have. I am getting this indication from the cloud captain as well. I can probably take one or two more questions if they allow me, but it was very nice being here. I think your questions were very, very intriguing. So I have to do some soul searching to answer them.
Everybody, if you have any questions for Gaurav, you can drop them in chat right now. He'll be taking one or two more questions from you all.
All right.
Yeah, we have 13 questions here.
Yeah, please go for it.
What could be the security benefits of cloud computing?
Right. So I one way you can think of it as, let's say you launched the next app to perform rideshare, right? And that app suddenly overnight became so popular that you needed to provide it not just in your city, which is Delhi right now. You wanted to expand it to Mumbai, to Bangalore, which means that to expand the app coverage to those cities, you now need more computing power as well, right? When it was just Delhi, you were able to handle the computing power from within the one room that you had. Now you need three rooms. So suddenly you cannot expand to three rooms. So you'll put rest of the servers in your friend's house. And your friend's house, people come and go. And someone saw your app and in your servers, and they plugged their USB in just to play their Counter Strike, and suddenly your servers went down. And oops, your end users now cannot use the application, and everyone is stranded. So things like that, even though very very unlikely, but in self-grown world were possible, right? You never had the option to take security as the prime of everything that you were doing because you were growing fastly. You had to keep up with the demand. Now, in using a cloud provider like AWS, the capacity can be anywhere. You don't have to worry where those servers are, and they are always going to be secure because that's covered by our various certifications and artifacts that we provide through our accounts as well. There is something called as AWS artifacts. So all the data centers are secure. So that is one security benefit, I would say, of using cloud computing.
We have one last question. It is how you adopt cloud computing in different business models. Example in banking sector, e-commerce business, or say for any defense organization.
Right. Thanks for asking this question. I mean, see, when you break down the utilization of cloud computing, right, it comes down to the basic building blocks that I talked about. There is going to be some compute, there is going to be storage, there is going to be some sort of data storage or a database, right? Because the building blocks remains the same, the thought remains the same. And with AWS, you get these building blocks in multiple options, and then you also get purpose-built setups that can be used, especially in financial domains if you need to do a bunch of analytics. Right, I talked about Redshift being one of the easy options there, and to hold a lot of data for compliance industries, we have S3, which is a very price competitive way of saving that data for a longer period of time. So that is that is the answer, I would say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this insightful session. And I hope we all learned something today. And the beginners also got to know a lot about the cloud computing. And I think, and for thank you for clearing all the doubts, like the basic ones too. I'm sure everyone had a really great time. Thank you, Gaurav. Um, Now, I would like to invite our faculty advisor, Mr. Dr. Gaurav Indra, to share his views and experience on cloud computing. Welcome, sir. Sir, you're on mute.
Soumya, it would be great if you could share the slides.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, hi Soumya. Good evening to everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
you
you
are
are
on.
audible, sir.
Oh, great. So nice listening to Gaurav. I really think he cleared many doubts to our younger lot of students, especially the first year or the second year students. Uh, Maybe the myth, or you can say the barrier which a student has regarding the cloud. I think firstly it has to be broken, right? So I just want my session to be just a GD kind of thing, group discussion kind of thing. Okay. So I'm just using your Cloud Captain's slides only. Okay. I have not prepared my slides intentionally because I just wanted to have this session as interactive as I can have. And I like to answer some of the very basic questions which you all might be having in your mind. Okay. So, from the industry perspective, from the AWS community perspective, we got to hear Mustafa, we got to hear Gaurav. Okay. So, still, I think that there are many doubts in the mind of the students, and they are still hesitant enough to adopt cloud technologies, or specifically AWS, or let's say Azure, or IBM Cloud, or any other cloud computing platform. Okay. So let us start with some of the very basic questions which you might be having. So just post your questions in the chat box, and I would be answering those questions. And I think it would be the best way to communicate with all of you. Uh, okay.
Guys, it would be great if you could keep this as an interactive session.
Okay. So what is AWS? Hmm. Um, Typical question. Uh, it's a branded name adopted by the Amazon people for the cloud solution which they have developed. Yeah, it's a platform for providing the cloud service. The different organizations have adopted different names. The Microsoft people have adopted Azure. The Amazon people have named it like Amazon Web Services, AWS. Okay. Google have simply called it as Google Cloud. Salesforce, different people have different nomenclature for the cloud platform which they have created for the users. Okay. Okay. More basic question. How can a first year step into the cloud computing as a beginner who knows nothing about it? Okay. Uh, Acha. Let us see this question from a student's perspective. First of all, being a student, if I'm inquisitive about any technology or any upcoming technology which is very prevalent in the IT sector, okay. So first thing which goes into my mind is like, why in fact this technology is booming, or why there is such a hype about this technology, what exactly this technology does. Okay. uh, so what exactly is the need of cloud computing? Can anyone tell me in the chat box, from the session you had with the Gaurav, or you had with Mustafa, or your cloud captain? Can we choose cloud computing apart from the, okay, I'll come to this question. First of all, let me answer those questions first. Okay. So, what's the inquisitive factor about the cloud computing? From delivering IT services, limited physical infrastructure. Okay. Anything else? It is involving the use of virtual IT services. Okay. Anything else which comes into your mind? I'm just asking the answers from a layman's perspective. It need not have to be a very technical or a computer science geek kind of answer. It can be a layman answer. Just answer in the simpler terms. How do you infer cloud computing? How do you understand cloud computing? Or how do you try to understand cloud computing? Paying as you go pricing. Okay, so all these things are the attributes of cloud computing. Okay. Uh, I'll just start with a simple example. Just pay attention for 1 or 2 minutes. Okay. Uh, data, right? Uh, just before 2 or 3 years back, uh, there was a situation that the Mac users could not use the Microsoft Office. Okay. So, are you familiar with that kind of scenario? That the people who were like Mac users could not use the MS Office? I'm not talking about that you can use the MS Office, Office 365. I'm talking about installing the Office, MS Office on your Mac systems. Uh, right now, can you do it? Means nowadays, is it feasible to install MS Office on the Mac systems? Yes. Okay. So currently, the situation is yes, we can install MS Office or other proprietary softwares on the Mac, which are not developed by the Apple. Okay. Uh, but before, I think 3 years or 5 years back, this was not the situation. Okay. So, what exactly was the thing? Was it the rivalry between the Microsoft and the Apple, or was it something else? Was it the monopoly which the Mac people have adopted or the Microsoft people have adopted? And suddenly, what happened to that monopoly? Okay, so I'll come back to this example. I'll just take another simpler example. Okay, let us talk about Google Docs, Google Documents. Okay, I think it's the simplest form of cloud application which you use in your daily life. Do you all agree on this? That Google Docs is the simplest kind of cloud application which you use in your day-to-day life. Cloud computing has been in the picture for over 2 decades. Okay. The only thing is we have not realized it. We have not used it as a cumulative, or you can say an aggregated form of a service. Okay. Nowadays, the organizations have like collected all the utilities which they can offer to you, and without physically procuring those applications and installing those applications on your laptop, you can simply lease out those applications, or you can simply use those applications on the browser by making use of the cloud computing platform. And for that, you have to pay as you go. Okay. So from my side, it's the most basic, or you can say in the most simple terms that I can infer the concept of cloud computing and convey some message to you. Okay. So if you still have some queries, I'll suggest the Cloud Captain to have some open air sessions so that you can interact directly with me or the Cloud Captain or other industry people. Okay. So great guys. Be inquisitive, be learned, and bless you all. Okay. So signing off. Take care. Cloud Captain.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experiences and for sharing your ideas. I hope all the viewers got a lot of insights from the session. So that was all from our end. Also, we are opening the just a second. Also, we are um, opening the forms for recruitment. So it will be great if you guys want to join us and begin your AWS journey. Um, you can fill the Google form by scanning this code. So please go on. And yeah, as sir have suggested, we'll definitely have some questionnaire sessions where you can ask your doubts, and we can have more industrial speakers who can share their experiences with you all. You can scan this QR code to join, like to fill the Google Forms. We have open positions for associates in various teams, including management, PR, technical, creative, and media. Then this is our Instagram page, which you can follow, and you will get all the updates. This is our WhatsApp group, which we have created so that you can get all the updates, all the forms, and yeah, Shruti, we have a management team. So yeah, you can join. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, so we have this WhatsApp group which you can join for more updates. And then this is the meetup group which you can join to know about the upcoming events, and you will be getting the link to the upcoming events from the meetup group only. And yeah, kindly fill the feedback form. We'll be sending you the certificates based on this feedback form only, as we have promised that we'll be giving you feedback for we'll be giving you certificates for every session. So kindly fill this. And I would like to thank all the speakers, Mustafa, Gaurav, and Dr. Gaurav Indra, who uh, who could take out the time from their busy schedule and motivate us and share their experiences. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And thank you, all the viewers, for joining us. It was a great launch and orientation session. Hope to have next session in offline mode in the college very soon. Due to some logistics issue, we could not have that this time, but we'll be having our next session offline most probably. So stay tuned and do fill these forms. We'll be um, sending you the forms we'll be sending you these links in the WhatsApp group as well. So thank you, and we'll be adding it in our descriptions. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Signing off.